Okay, in today's video we're going to take a look at Deacon Armstrong, Sacred Order champion. A lot of you guys will probably have him already. He is actually a very common champion to have in a starter link. So if you use the link of a creator in the past, then there's a good chance that you have Deacon. He's also someone that a lot of people obviously pull, and since he gives a lot of value to your lineup, we're going to go a little bit over of what he actually is good at, what he's not so good at, and how you should build him depending on what kind of content you're going to use him for. A lot of people throw him straight into Arena, where he's obviously fantastic. Depends a little bit on if you already have an Arbiter or a couple of other champions, but he can absolutely excel there. And then when you later on have better champions for Arena, you can still use him very nicely in the Cursed City, in Doom Tower, and a lot of other PvE areas. So we're going to go a little bit over where he is used best, at which point in your account journey, and what kind of items you should use. So for this, we're going to take a look at the Deacon on my main account. I actually don't have him on the free-to-play account right now. And, well, the thing is that here I'm using him mainly as a little bit of a support champion for certain areas in Doom Tower and also in Faction Wars. But let's go over his abilities real quickly, because that makes it quite clear from the get-go where you actually should use him, especially when you get him early on in your journey. Now, first and foremost, we have with an aura already a speed aura that you have in all battles. It's actually quite important because you have a lot of auras that are only available in Arena, and there's sometimes also a bit of a misconception that when you're going into a siege or into any other areas that those auras apply, but they actually don't. So having an aura that applies everywhere that gives you speed is quite nice when you're trying to boost it up in Doom Tower, when you're trying to do it in other areas of the game outside of just Arena. Now, obviously, there are a couple of champions out there that are simply better when it comes to Arena alone. So if this is where you use Deacon, he's still a good starter there, but you should always check if you have maybe an aura available that gives you even more of a boost, because especially at the beginning of the game, speed is everything. Later on, when we have mythical champions, when we have a lot of stone skin and a lot of other tools that come into play, that's a bit of a different story, but this is mostly late game stuff. So when we're talking early on, speed is just absolutely everything until far into the late game usually. So you want to have a speed aura lead for your arena battles normally, and you want to also have fast champion here. Now with Deacon Armstrong on our A3, we now have something that basically just gives us a turn meter boost and decreases the turn meter of the opponent. And then the important part is it's not all that it does, but it also gives us a second turn where our A2 then comes into play. So the A3 alone is basically just trying to guarantee us that we are starting first. And for Arena, this is one of the most important things. It's one of the reasons why later on you will use Arbiter as your main lead in Arena, because it still allows you to go extremely fast. And again, always with a little caveat that once that mythical champions are involved, once that stone skin is involved, and a lot of other late game things, the equation starts to shift a little bit, but that's typically how you approach, especially at the beginning and way into the late mid-game, any kind of speed battles or arena battles. Now with our second turn, what we then do is we're actually attacking all enemies, and if we are fully booked, then we have a decreased defense that we can apply. That's obviously fantastic, not only when we're talking about PvE content, but also about Arena. We're just making sure that whoever we set up as our nuker or damage dealer does more damage on the initial burst there. So that's already fantastic. In case if you haven't figured it out yet, we have an attack-based champion here, so Deacon is based on attack. This is actually where, for a lot of people, things start to go a little bit wrong, because they immediately think that he's also supposed to do a bit of damage, and it's not really his place. We're going to talk about this in a moment when we're looking at items. On our A1, we have a Leech, and this is typically something that you're not going to see used a whole lot when we're talking about Arena, being it live Arena, being it normal Arena, Team Arena, doesn't really matter. It's more so when you're using him, let's say in the Doom Tower, and you're trying to go through waves. Having that additional Leech is kind of nice. If you're using him on a boss, then obviously the same also applies. But with that already now out of the way, with our abilities, the question is, what exactly is he supposed to do? And it's actually fairly simple. If you're using him in most areas, his main job is really to be fast, and then you want to apply the decreased defense. So he's allowing you in Arena and other areas to just be the first one to start. You also have an immediate debuff through that decreased defense, and then your nuker comes into play and takes the opponent out. Now, mine is not really that massively built here. I have him currently just set up, as I said before, for a little bit of faction wars and for certain Doom Tower areas where I use him a little bit, but Deacon is not really used by me a whole lot. So his speed is only at 287, as you can see right now. Nothing really too crazy. What's important is that we have his accuracy high. So typically speaking, we want him fast, faster than our opponent, especially when you have him in arena and you don't have another speed lead yet. You actually want to throw your fastest gear on him. So whatever has the most speed, throw it on him, get him in speed sets, and then try to also build as much accuracy as possible. His first job is going to be to get you the first turn. Ideally enough accuracy that he can also land his A2, but if you have to sacrifice some accuracy there, you can definitely live with that, at least at the beginning. If you are using him more so in an area like Doom Tower or other PvE areas, then obviously you need to build him a little bit more for health, because in an arena setup, the whole idea is that he gives you the first turn, he gets a debuff in, and then your Nuka finishes the job. He's not really someone that needs to look at a sustained battle where he needs to be able to also take damage. That changes when you're using him in Doom Tower, Cursed City, or somewhere else, because there you go through multiple waves, you have also damage that is incoming, so you need to make sure that he's able to survive quite a few of that. Accuracy becomes also more important there. Once that he's booked, you have, obviously, as you've seen before, the 3-turn cooldown, so you will rotate through that as much as you can. But in regards to items, what you typically will aim for is speed, perception, accuracy sets. Whatever gets those two main stats really boosted is really helpful. And as you can already see here from... not even glyphed, as you can see here. So yeah, not using him these days a whole lot. But as you can see, I have him here on an attack chest. He has the attack chest simply because he has a double speed roll. Could and should probably also throw some speed glyphs on there. Never have enough of those, which is really a shame. But yeah, so let's get us another 3 speed right there. But you can already tell from my gloves, for example, that I'm not really building him for damage. So if you're looking at him and you're saying like, hey, he is an attack champion, how about I get crit rate on him, I get attack on him, it's really not all the needed. If you use him in PvE content, you're more so interested in him surviving, and if you're using him in a PvP area, then you want him fast. So you just throw something in that has 2, 3, maybe even 4 rolls into speed. You try to get a decent glyph from him. Here he has a +8, so he's pretty much maxed on this one, which is kind of nice. So something that you should definitely aim for. And of course, if you can ascend your items and reroll them, I have a 45 speed boots here. I could reroll that, get the extra 12 speed to make him even faster. So this is always something that you should aim for if you're trying to use him in arena. But that's essentially his role. His banner should always be an accuracy banner. There again, it's a little bit more of a question of what do you actually have. If, for example, you have, let's say, a defense banner that has 3 rolls into speed, and the accuracy banner, the only one that you have lying around, has no speed roll at all, then use the defense banner. If he doesn't land the decreased defense on his second turn, it's a little bit annoying, but at the same time, the main thing for any PvP content is really go fast at the start. And once that you're transitioning more into PvE content with him, if you're using him in dungeons, in clan boss, wherever else it may be, then accuracy plays a bigger role for you. And of course, you also want to make sure that he survives. So that's basically a quick look at Deacon. It's not really too fancy. It's a very straightforward champion that just shifts a little bit depending on where exactly you use him. Most of you guys will probably have a very heavy focus early on if you have him, let's say, with a starter link, to use him in arena. And for that, again, you just throw your speed gear on him. You put him into lead position unless you have a better speed aura. And then you can just stack a couple of damage dealers behind him. Maybe you have a Reviver too instead, just in case that the fight, lasts long or anything of the sorts. But he's an overall fantastic champion. He's extremely strong. You can really see it also here from the ratings. So you can use him in tons and tons of areas. Once more, the reminder, if you move into something like Hydra or anything else, he needs to survive. You don't want him with an attack percentage chest. You really want him with HP percentage, defense percentage. He needs to survive. Still have him on a decent speed, get good accuracy in so that he lands his debuffs. But in this case, it's really just making sure that he survives through the rounds and doesn't get killed the first time he gets hit. So that's basically that. So, hope you learned something from this one. Again, if you have any questions around Deacon or any other champions that you would like me to take a look at in regards to what you should equip with them or anything of the sorts, drop a comment into the comment section. If you learned something from the video, hit that thumbs up button, and I hope to see you guys in the next one.